Good morning, everybody, and this is your Dow Jones day trade setups for today. So yet another move below the moving averages. We are still somewhat in an uptrend. We haven't got a crossover the moving average, but we are flattening out. So we are ranging. It's a fairly big range. You're going to have to pay attention to the bottom end of this chaos here. We haven't touched it yet. But if we start getting through that, we start rejecting the levels that we've got at the moment, then I would expect us to have a deeper move to the downside. Now, at the moment, we have some sort of an inside bar that is formed, and then no confirmation on it yet, but there is definitely something here that is happening. So there are buyers coming in. I don't like the way we're moving up and below the moving averages. So this is a signal that we are confused. So if we just go up one on the time frame, you'll see that we in an upward trend on the daily. We've tested the 155 once, well twice. There's the first time when we broke through. There's the second time since we've broken through. So wouldn't be too surprised to see us test it a third time here. There is also a trend line here on the daily, which we are sitting on, so from these tails here. So this is a fairly important area. Oscillators pointing to the downside at the moment, so you would be forgiven if you're looking for shorts here, but there's no solid long-term short setup at the moment. So if we get down to the 3 hour, we've had the strong move down, and then gradually, the short continued yesterday, and there was opportunities for short. You did have the gap here as well. That gap is closed, and the important thing, we pause here for a bit, gaps typically almost always close. Maybe not in the same day, maybe not in the same week or month or year, but they almost always typically close. Okay, and this gap was a gap from data, and it happened intraday. So it wasn't a weekly gap or something, it was an intraday gap that happened. So just bear that in mind. It doesn't really matter what time frame those gaps are on, but gaps are one of the most important signals on your chart. So if you've got a clean chart with no gaps and it's climbing, it's a strong trend, you pretty much always, you can just keep moving up with the trend. But if you have gaps below, you can still move up, but you've got to keep it in the back of your mind, because the probability of us coming back to close that gap is always pretty high. Okay, so let's just have a look at what we've got going on here. Tails to the upside, tails to the downside, barbed wire, confusion, oscillators grip to the downside, so we are extremely oversold at the moment, and there's nothing really here that's indicating anything. Price action, strong move down, and then the bars get smaller and smaller, and then bigger and bigger. So you can see there comes the exhaustion into the move, and that was just to get to close the gap, and then people are taking profit and now sitting back and waiting for the next structure. So looking at the hour, we started off the short, and then you can see we just kept bouncing here. So the bottom and the top of yesterday's hour chart is what you need to pay attention to. We are sideways at the moment, so I'd be a little bit skeptical of doing anything. Really skeptical of doing anything at the moment. If you did take any of the shorts on the lower time frames on these breaks here, definitely was worth a few pennies. But if you look at what is happening here on the 50-minute and the oscillators, we're just waving around at the moment, and the moving averages are coming closer and closer together. So a simple scenario today, if we start dropping below 32,976, you're probably going to be looking for 32,873. But my opinion right now is I wouldn't want to be chasing shorts, just not looking at what's going on the higher time frames. I'm not sure I want to be chasing longs yet either. So I'd want to see us recapture 33,185, at least come back, test that environment for a move to the upside. Don't think that's going to happen. I think we're probably going to just range today. And look at the weekly. That's a nice big weekly double top that is setting up. and we've got the moving averages right here. Anything's possible, but I have a feeling that the higher probability just to keep ranging here because of what's happened in the past in this zone. So that's kind of my view at the moment. We're going to have to drop below. It's actually a weekly level that we need to pay attention to. So look at that. So we start getting a weekly close below 32,572, then we're probably coming back down to test the 155. And right in that region is this bit of structure here, and then lo and behold, there's another gap there. So that's kind of the view, and then if you look further, there's an even bigger gap further down. So I'm a little bit on the fence at the moment. I do believe that this down move is more than likely fizzled out for a bit. We're going to consolidate for a bit while we gather our thoughts and figure out which way we're going. On the hour, the trend is down, obviously, so you need to favor the downtrend, but we do have some pretty solid structure here from the daily and the weekly at the moment. So I'm a little bit concerned. If we do break this trend line, then we're continuing to the downside, and we're more than likely aiming for this 32,572. Could happen today, depends what noise comes out from the earnings season, but that's kind of my confused outlook for today. So we'll sit back and watch this from a distance. I don't think it's worth risking anything to get involved here. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you on Monday morning. Cheers for now.